All right, welcome to NHL Trade Deadline Day recap. This isn't going to include any trades made on Sunday or before that, including the Taylor Hall trade. So if you want to check those out, I'll put up a link up top over the next few minutes or so for you to click on, or you can just as easily go to my playlist and look under NHL trades. Now, so this is strictly about Monday's trade, and let's talk about the biggest fish by far, and that was the Washington-Detroit trade for Anthony Mantha. Stevie Y obviously landed a haul for this player. He hasn't been sort of up to par for the last couple of seasons, including this one, really ever since he signed that new contract, which is paying him, $5.7 million for the next 3 more seasons. This season in 42 games, Mantha's put up 11 goals, 21 points, minus 14. In about the same amount of games last season, he had 16 goals, 38 points, minus 7. You have to go back to the season before that, in which he put up 25 goals and 48 points in 67 games. And the season before that, he had 24 goals as well. So, this guy's got potential, right? In his first game with Washington, he put up a goal and an assist. They just absolutely beat the hell out of the Flyers there. And he played alongside Backstrom and Oshie on that second line. Some people thought he might be playing on the third. But on Detroit, he was the first line guy. Maybe that was too much pressure for him. He was quite a bit of a streaky scorer. A lot of Detroit fans will tell you that his effort didn't seem there a lot of nights. So maybe, playing for something worth something now, meaning the playoffs and the Stanley Cup, will inject some new life into this kid. And he's not that old. He's 26 years old, 6'5", 234 pounds, from Quebec, Canada. Man, if Washington wasn't the biggest team before, they definitely are now. They're just huge. He plays both wings, but he is a left shot. And I guess Detroit just didn't see him in their future plans. Like, their rebuild is going probably much longer than they would have liked. And carrying this kind of cap hit, knowing what Washington was going to give back for him, I'd trade him too. So let's talk about the package. What did Detroit get back? They got back a first-round pick in 2021, a second in 2022, Jacob Vrana, who will be an RFA at the end of this season, by the way, who's making $3.350 under the cap, and then Richard Panik, who's making $1.675, over the next couple of seasons after this. And then he's a UFA. So basically the trade breaks down where I think Detroit was like, Washington needed some cap space in order to fit Mantha, so they were like, okay, give us Panik, and give us a second-round pick for our troubles. So I think that's what those two parts were there. And then in exchange for Mantha, they got Vrana and a first-round pick. And why first rounder and Vrana? Well, besides just the money needing to make sense, maybe one could argue that this draft is going to be a bit of throwing darts blindly at a dartboard, because a lot of players haven't had the chance to play this season, and a lot of scouts haven't been able to go out and watch them play on top of that. So I'm sure Detroit would have rather have had a first-round pick for the following season, maybe, because of that. But they got Jacob Vrana, who has essentially put up the same, if not slightly more points than Mantha the past couple of seasons. Mantha's been about a half a point per game these past couple seasons, whereas in his 20-plus goal seasons, he's been just under a point per game player. So Detroit can, if they can sign Vrana for less money than they were giving Mantha, and he can continue to put up similar amount of points, maybe they even try and flip him down the road. Maybe they only sign Vrana for a couple seasons at most, or maybe they trade his rights to someone else. at the draft or around that period of time. And Panic, who cares really? They can just continue to eat his money because they're not going to be contending for a playoff spot for at least the next couple seasons. I think we can all agree on that, even Wings fans. Now, so that's it. So I guess I got to give the slight edge to Detroit here, but if Mantha can wake up out of his slumber, there's no doubt that he can really do a lot of damage for Washington. If not, this is going to look really bad for the Capitals. But I don't think it is. I'll be glass half full guy and say he's going to do a good job with the Capitals. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play some more games. Now let's just run through some of the other trades. I'm not going to go over every single one, but briefly, Jordy Ben to the Winnipeg Jets. I think he's obviously going to be a 7th, 8th guy on the depth chart there. He's a vet. Vancouver gets a 6th-round pick in exchange. I think Peggers really wanted to see more of a top 4 guy coming the other way, a la Ekholm or Savard, somewhere around that stratosphere, because that's their big weakness, right? Defense right now. Next, Washington also picked up Michael Raffl, a depth player, ho-hum, for a 5th-round pick that went to Philly. The Nashville Predators picked up Eric Gudbranson, again a 7th, 8th defenseman who's massive, who's in the last year of his contract, $4 million a year. Was it the Vancouver's GM who signed him to that contract? Ottawa got a 7th rounder and somewhat of a prospect in Fortunato. The Maple Leafs picked up Antti Suomela in exchange for Alexander Barabanov. Suomela is a depth forward who can also play center, who may not even see any ice time unless there's a ton of injuries. Barabanov, I think this is more about the Leafs trying to do right by him because he did really well in the KHL in the seasons previous to this, and he came to Toronto and he just really couldn't crack the lineup on a regular basis. He's fast. He's a really good forechecker. His hands don't seem to be able to keep up with his feet. But hopefully he'll get a really good opportunity in San Jose. And this was all about Toronto doing damage control, like they did with trading Mikko Lehtonen to the Columbus Blue Jackets, in order so that more free agents from the SHL or KHL will know that if they sign with Toronto, they'll get a shot. But if it doesn't work out, Kyle Dubas will ship them where they will get an opportunity. Moving on, Carolina didn't really do much. But they did send Hayden Fleury to the Ducks, a young defenseman who can play both the left and right. He's 24 years old. I think he's going to be an RFA soon, though. And they got Yanni Hakanpää back. Now, he doesn't have a ton of NHL experience, but he did play like 41-ish games this season with the Ducks. And he's a really good depth defenseman, and he's huge, and he's good defensively. He's a 0 in the plus-minus category with the Ducks. And that says something because I think there's only one player on their blue line who's in the plus side of things. And he's been pulling over 18 minutes a game for them. And he's massive as well. So there's that. Then Montreal picked up Eric Gustafsson for a 7th-round pick. Ho-hum. I really don't think they wanted to see this guy play. He's good offensively, but he's just a train wreck defensively. And being a defenseman, that's kind of not good. Philly also, I believe they retained half his salary on that one. So, yeah, we'll see if he even plays. Toronto acquired Ben Hutton from the Ducks for a 5th-round pick. Being a Toronto fan, I'm not exactly... I mean, this is okay. Hutton, again, is a 7th, 8th guy. Just any warm body that will keep Martin Marincin out of the lineup. Really, he's a left shot D, and he kind of stands in the way of Sandin seeing any ice time. Sandin is one of their top prospects, so that's another thing I'm not crazy about. But Hutton is around 27. He does have a lot of games under his belt. He's okay. I really, if I want to nitpick here, I really wanted to see, like a top 4 guy like Savard or someone enter the lineup. And if they had to, they could have fit him under the cap, using a third team to involve that trade like they did with Foligno. But in any case, I'm not going to dwell on that. Next up, what else do we have here? The Vegas Golden Knights picked up Matthias Janmark from Chicago. That was a 3-way trade in order to make the money work. Chicago got a second and third out of it. Janmark is kind of like he's a left winger / centerman. Who will probably appear on their third line. He can also kill penalties, which helps. So that's some decent depth for them there. So half his salary was retained, or 3/4 of it between San Jose, because they were also involved in the trade. I'm not going to get into the other details of that one. The Florida Panthers acquire Sam Bennett, and they got a 6th-round pick, and Calgary got a 2nd-rounder out of the deal for 2022, and a semi-prospect, Emil Heineman. Thought maybe Calgary could get a bit more than that, but that's okay, I guess. Sam Bennett definitely adds a bit of grit to the Florida lineup, and he's been known to really flourish in the playoffs. He doesn't really do much during the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's like a different player. Colorado Avalanche pick up Carl Soderberg. That gives them some good depth. They know him. He knows them. He knows the system. He'll probably play on that third line, either as a wing or centerman. He gives them nice depth, and that was from Chicago. They got a couple of players, AHLers / junior players from, and Dickinson and Rolston. What else here? Tampa Bay picked up Frederick Kleeson. He's just a depth defenseman, nothing to write home about. Adam Gaudette was picked up by the Chicago Blackhawks for Matthew Highmore. I see Gaudette seeing as he could have the higher ceiling there, and him being more of an NHL player, although Matthew Highmore did do really well for Chicago in the playoffs last season. And that's about it. What else? Oh, yeah. I've talked about all the other trades. There you have it. I'd love to hear from you down in the comment section below what you think about all these ones, especially that Washington-Detroit trade from you Red Wing and Capital fans. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to each other out there in this crazy world we're living in right now, and I'll see you soon.